Hi, my name is Ricardo Perez, and I'm doing a paper on in the United States and what modern technology in regards to wiretapping and the U.S. Patriot Act. This paper will discuss the creation of wiretapping and how it was implemented into American legal systems. Since this type of investigation tool has been around for a while, there has been quite a bit of technology advancement as well. Wiretapping has been around for about 50 years, and that is a long period of time to develop and implement new devices to assist with investigations. When wiretapping first started, it started off being on landlines outside of people's homes. And a good example this shows right here is a phone that was on a landline and how the microphone is placed right here. And this is how the people who sit outside listen to what's going on, and the wires that hook up to the phone that are traced outside of the car in the car outside. This is a good diagram of basically how it occurs. There's a van outside of somebody's house. There's someone in the apartment. They're listening inside of the van. The person goes up and basically hacks into the wires outside of the house and basically records any information that is being relied over the speakers that are implanted inside the telephone. In addition to the technology development, there have also been laws created that disputed the legality issues associated with wiretapping. After September 11th, there has been this increasing need for governments to grant access to individuals' information as a reason of national security. Within this paper, it will compare and contrast the unreasonable search and seizure wiretapping and whether the laws enacted are legally upstanding. Due to the problems that we've occurred after 9/11, the government has advanced their technology as well, because the terrorist organizations and cells that are trying to hurt American people and the soil that we live on, we have to combat that new type of technology that's being developed. Just a brief history of wiretapping. Wiretapping was first developed when it was conducted by placing outside of an individual's home, which I showed you an example of, and tapping into a telephone wire to obtain conversation information. As technology progressed, so have the advancement of wiretapping techniques. The nation's need to wiretap became a necessity because politically, America was at tension with various countries. This also included our nation's vulnerability of terrorist attacks post 9/11, which Homeland Security used wiretapping as a way to protect us. A nice quote that I actually saw that I wanted to read was, "The government has participated in wiretapping in the 1960s and 1970s, when they implemented a widespread program of wiretapping and permeation of dangerous groups thought to be a threat to this country." Another type of modern technology is something called the Einstein program. The Einstein program was a major information collection program implemented by the U.S. government. During this time frame, we had a lot of international foreign enemies that could potentially be a threat to our nation's safety. So, for example, this type of program would be at, like, say, FBI headquarters, and then all these different communications that were coming in were going to be collected in this one specific device, and then they would have people who would go in and investigate and see what the collections are and basically decipher what news was good, what news was bad, and it basically was to help out with national security. A common misconception is that wiretapping is just via the telephone, but with the advancement of technology, the definition has evolved. Wiretapping now includes all types of communication, including emails, internet activity, data work, and other communicative productivity. An interesting fact that I would like to talk about also is the fact that we are actually starting in a day and age where we're having warrantless wiretapping. Warrantless wiretapping is basically, it occurred after 9/11, where the government doesn't need a warrant and they can just go and wiretap whenever they feel like, as long as it's a productivity of national security measure. Post 9/11, there was this realization that criminal cells are more complex and technology inclined than we would have expected. In America, we have dealt with terrorist plots over the country that have been stopped due to the government intercepting critical information. In September 2011, Congress enacted legislation authorizing the President to use all necessary and appropriate force against those nations that contributed to the September 11th attack, which is what I just discussed. With the expanding concept of wiretapping, there is a need to develop new technology, and one example is in regards to data retention. In 2002, the Department of Defense was planning a project known as Total Information Awareness, also known as TIA. The project's general purpose would be to collect data in a large database where government agencies can track criminal activity. Total Information Awareness a method of operation was to collect IP addresses and users who viewed a particular website. Once this information was obtained, the FBI would filter it and try to locate any possible security risks. This includes an individual who has an FBI's interest and they were caught viewing, for example, how to make a bomb website and other incriminating pages. So, for example, when we're dealing with modern technology such as SIM cards, cell phones, which are now in SIM cards, internet addresses, these cell phones can track us, our location, anywhere in the world, practically. And all the government has to do is just go log in, get some communicative assistance, and they can find us easily. They also can easily intercept our emails that we're sending to other people, and our IP addresses as to what we view on our laptops can be viewed as well. One thing that I would like to discuss is the advancement of this law that was created where it's called the Communicative Assistance Act, and what that is the communicative companies such as Verizon, AT&T, basically, communication companies, they are allowed to give your information if the government requests it, and then once they give that information, they receive a hush order, which is where they're not allowed to discuss. Basically, they're not allowed to inform the person who's being investigated about that they're being investigated. So it's become legal that the government can view anything that they want in regards to communicative productivity over wireless companies. The advantage to tapping wireless information is that the signal is traveling everywhere, so it's easier to intercept. Interception becoming as easy has also become striking up major privacy issues because the government can listen to any information they want. For example, as I was explaining before, this right here, the red blurbs that look like cars, are the GPS tracking. These are where GPSs are being found. The white ones are SMS location data, which is basically cell phones. And it gives you the date, it gives you the time, and it also gives you your personal identification number. So at all these certain times, they can track where you were, where you drove to, just by tracking your cell phone. In addition, there have been the increasing amount of federal and state wiretap authorizations. From 1997 to 2007, you can see there's been a substantial increase in wiretapping in regards to the amount of authorizations. Black is statewide and gray is federal. Federally, it's probably stayed about consistent, but statewide, it's increased dramatically. Also, in relation to personal data, there is this increased desire to provide advanced security to protect this data. A lot of people now are encrypting their software, where messages they send have to be decoded and deciphered, and the FBI has trained professionals who know how to decipher software and make it easily where anyone can obtain information on somebody else. Another example of in government wiretapping is the creation of the 1993 chip or chip, where it would be planted in phone lines and would provide unlimited communication access. This is a really large privacy issue, and it really prohibits our Fourth Amendment rights of protection of privacy. With the advancement of the communications that we have discussed, the Fourth Amendment is really going to have to be modified as to what types of modern technologies can really be used in wiretapping, because it's just becoming so easy to wiretap that we're basically losing what the Fourth Amendment stood for, which was to ensure that we can live without any infringement from the government in regards to that type of thing. In addition, as I explained about the Einstein software, this is the software that analyzed ongoing traffic going in and out of participating federal agencies. The program collected IP addresses, which is an address where you go and you visit a website, and it logs that type of address and shows that you went onto that website. In regards to the other types of wiretapping, wiretapping actually has to become there has to be stricter requirements. One thing that I like to say though is that the National Security Administration has passed a law named the Warrantless Wiretapping Program, as I discussed. And if there are warrantless wiretappings occurring, how can it be regulated that the government will be able to not wiretap whatever they feel like, and it will prohibit American citizens from receiving the rights that they deserve. In conclusion, the future of this country in regards to citizens' privacy is that we are moving away from what the Fourth Amendment really provided. We have the right to privacy and from government intrusion, but that was when technology wasn't such a large part of our society like it is now. The government will only try to infiltrate information if you are a threat to national security, which many people in this country are not. But those small percentages are a really large security risk. We need a nation that is safe and where we can live our lives as Americans, but with this freedom and with this advancement of technology, it does have its costs and its limitations. Thank you for listening to my paper, and I hope you enjoy it.